Lesson 56, Finite and Infinite Sets, Membership in a Set and Rearranging before Graphing. A finite set is a set that has a finite number of members. Like, for example, M. Here we can see that the members are 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10. That's it. Now in an infinite set, like N, we have these dots here that indicate that they keep going forever, and there is an infinite amount of members. In example 56, we have to represent these numbers as members of the set, and they give us the name of the set is K. Now to give the name of a set, we always use a capital letter, and then we also use the braces, and we're only going to put each member one time. So we have 0, and even though we have it 2 times, we write it once. Then we have 1, then we have 2, then we have 4, 5, and 7. And that is our answer. Now in this next example, they give us 3 sets. Set A is 0, 1, 3, and 5. B is 0, 6, 7. And C is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. And what we have to do is read each one of these statements here and decide if they are true or false. Now, we are introduced with this symbol, E, like that. You have to do it in that way. And that means is an element. Or we can also say belongs to. So when I read the first one, it says 5 is an element of A, or 5 belongs to A. So I come here and I see that A has a 5. So that is true. So that is a true statement. The next one, it says 4 belongs or is an element of C. Now I come here to C and there's no 4. So that is false. Now this other element that has the same thing but with a line like that says that it's not. So it's not an element or does not belong to. So if we read it, it would be 5 is not an element of B. So I look at B and there is no 5. So it is true that 5 is not an element of B. And the last one says that 0 is not an element of C. And when I come here, I see that 0 is not in C, which means that that is also true. In the second part of the lesson, we have to rearrange before graphing. In a previous lesson, we already learned how to graph, but they give us the equation ready. In this case, they're not giving us the equation ready. We have to leave y alone. So we'll pass the 3x, that is adding to subtract, and the 2 to divide. Now we simplify and we get 2 minus 3 halves x. Now remember that in our chart, we're going to choose 3 numbers, and we're always going to look for the denominator to give us the idea of which numbers we should choose. So since we have a 2 here, I'm going to choose -2, 0, and 2. And why is that? Because whenever we substitute the -2 and the 2 here in the x, they're going to cancel, and then we're going to work with whole numbers. So if we substitute, we get 2 minus 3 halves times -2. That's going to be 2 plus, because this negative times negative is plus, 2 plus 3, which is 5. Then we do the same with 0, and that is going to be 0, so the answer is 2. And we do the same with 2. Again, these 2 cancel, and 2 minus 3 is -1. Now we have to graph, so remember to do your line on one of the graphing paper lines. And then we're going to graph each one of these points that we found here. So -2, 5 is here. 0, 2 is right here. And 2, -1 is right here. And as you can see, they're all in a line, so we can connect them. And that's it. we graphed our line. Let's look at this other example. This is really easy. Notice that the only thing we have to do is pass this negative x to the other side to add. So y equals x. Now this is a very important equation. It's called the identity equation. And what it's saying is that x equals y. So if I choose x and y, I can choose any number. So let's say I'm going to choose -1, 0, and 5. So if we're saying that y equals x, and x is -1, then y is also -1. And if y equals x and x is 0, then y is 0. And then if x is 5, y is also 5. So now we are ready to graph. The first point is going to be -1, -1. Then 0, 0, right here in the origin. And then 5, 5. And that is the identity line. As you can see, it cuts the coordinate plane in half. And it touches all the points that have the same x and the same y. And that's it. Very simple lesson. Go do your practice and let me know if you have any questions. And I'll see you in the next video.